Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe. Listen to your heart. 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 Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe. 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart.
Good evening, good evening. We're coming at you live with a Champions League draw reaction. Obviously, we usually do our usual slot at about 10:30, don't we? We go live pretty well every night at 10:30, but with the Big Six at 9 o'clock tonight, I didn't want to go straight from the Big Six being a high energy stream and come on to you guys and be a bit tired and not give you my best energy. So we said, you know what, fuck it, 8 o'clock tonight, we'll go live, we'll chat Champions League draw, we'll talk a bit about the Premier League weekend's results. And hopefully we'll have a good one. Obviously, maybe the views won't be as high as usual because we're at a different time. We're clashing with other big creators. But listen, anybody who is with us right now and comes in to watch playback, massively, massively appreciate you. About 20 people in the building right now. If you haven't done so already, make sure you have already smashed the like button. Massively helps get the channel out there. We've just passed, literally in the last, I think, 5-10 minutes, 4.3k subscribers. So we're about 700 away now from the big 5k. That's our big goal. We'd love to hit it by the new year, 2023, if we could hit 5k. That would be absolutely amazing. So only you lot can make that happen. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, and just show love to the stream in general. You're more than welcome here. Everybody is welcome, no matter who you support. As long as you're not a dickhead, you're very welcome here. Let's see who we have in the building before we get straight into it. As always, you can see the graphic up on screen beside us right now. That's the full draw for the round of 16. We may even touch in on the Europa League draw because there's some very interesting draws there if we have time. But bear in mind, the Big Six show is at 9 o'clock tonight, so I'll have to make my way over to that. We got Barry in the building, Al's, Alec, Kerwin, the usuals, D1, Millie, Glendon, Dr. Footy Sky Blue, yeah, all the usuals, loads of the usuals here. Keep smashing the likes, people. Keep smashing the likes and get your thoughts in on, obviously, the big one for us is, if you're a City fan, we've drawn Leipzig and people are pulling the card that Manchester City have the Champions League rigged. You know what's mental, lads, actually? We'll start off with this. It's mental how we've rigged the Champions League for the last 6 years, getting easy draws, isn't it? How we've rigged it, but never won the motherfucker. We've never won the motherfucker. How have we rigged this competition but never won it? People are so unhappy. So I think I'll list out the draws here. We'll get straight into Leipzig versus Man City. We may touch on some of the other ones because we had a good conversation, I did anyway, with Daps and Dara the other day about how if we are to draw, a stereotypically easier team, a Bruges or a Leipzig, I'm not saying they'll be easy or that Leipzig will be an easy challenge, but it's not as hard as a PSG or a Bayern, is it? That it would be great if they could at least draw each other. PSG drew Bayern Munich. I'm not speaking properly. PSG drew Bayern Munich, and Liverpool drew Real Madrid. There you go. That's two great ties for us. Should we pass Leipzig? We're in a good place. So what have we got? Leipzig versus Man City, Club Bruges versus Benfica. I think Benfica will be looking to get through that one. Liverpool, Real Madrid, absolutely colossal tie. Two clubs with a massive, Champions League DNA. Heritage is the word I think you could use there. I hate the word, but there it is. AC Milan, Tottenham, another blockbuster tie there. You'll see Emerson Royale up against Leao. I think there's a bit of a cooking to be happening there for poor old Emerson. Eintracht take on Napoli. That'll be another good game. Napoli are a bit of a dark horse this year for the competition, and then you've got
two teams of both slot Rangers.
Yeah, that's they go up in my estimations for that. But Frankfurt being the Europa League champions, Napoli great form recently, dark horses in the competition. A lot of people are tipping them to at least push some of the big boys and go quite a distance in the whole campaign. Then you got Dortmund versus Chelsea. That'll also be a cracker of a game, I think. And then Inter Porto, another good game, very even. I think both those clubs will be looking to beat each other. And then PSG Bayern. There's no tie, lads. Well, there's no tie. Give your overall thoughts in a second. Actually, I'll address the super chats now, and then we can get into it. But there's no tie anyway, in my opinion. There's a standout winner. Apart from maybe us and Leipzig, even though Leipzig are good. That's probably the closest you get. There's no standout winner. Wolves FI, thank you so much for the €2 super chat. As always, people, when a super chat comes in, if you've just seen them come in, you would have seen our boy, the Norwegian meat, what's it called again? The Nordic meat feast? Meat shield. I'm thinking of a Subway sandwich here. He appears on the screen. He points at you and he says, thank you very much for the super chat this time, Wolves FI. What was Wolves' ball number UCL draw? Unfortunately, my friend, Wolves aren't quite there yet. I'd say give it another year or two and you might find yourself in the draw too. But listen, thank you so much for coming in and sending the super chat and showing love. Strawboy, like this for City, like this draw for City. Yeah, sorry. I think in terms of teams that we feel we can beat anyway, it's well up there. It's well up there. Anyways, lads, I'm rambling on here. What are we saying about the draw? We've got Leipzig. Do any of the other draws stand out to you? Joe, you may as well fire away, my bro.
I'll fire away before this big head goes and tell you he told you so. I like this draw. It's very favourable. We've got a decent tie. We faced Leipzig last year in the Champions League, so they're not a new side. We know mainly what they're about, so it's familiar territory. So, I expect us to go through. Liverpool fans I've seen crying about the draw. Finish first, mate. That helps with getting an easier draw. But speaking on Liverpool, Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern is ideal because you already know two of the big boys are going home early on. Two of the big boys are out and, out of the way, City can't play them. So very happy about that one. I think the only other one that I would expect to be either sided in terms of one team expected to go through is AC Milan, purely because Conte has an awful record in the Champions League, just personally. Like his record in European football, specifically Champions League, terrible. So I would expect AC Milan to go through in that one. But apart from that, even when you look at teams like Club Brugge, Benfica, I don't want to be too disrespectful, but out of all the teams that topped the group, Benfica and Porto were the two where you'd go, they're probably the two weakest top seeds. And they ended up getting Club Brugge and Inter. Inter, very tough for Porto. That one would be close. Bruges Benfica is... Listen, heads are going to fall off if City draw the winner of that one. Let's just say that now. If City draw Bruges or Benfica in the next round, the heads are going to be gone. Finished. Right. Again, rig the competition. But how do you rig a competition and not win it? I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these ties, because, again, they're all pretty close. I like this draw a lot, and I'm very happy with the one that we got. I know Leipzig are tough. I think they did beat Real Madrid, although it was a depleted Real Madrid side. I'm pretty sure they did beat them once. And they beat us last year as well, albeit, again, we'd already topped that group. We'd already won the group last year, and Kyle Walker did a Kyle Walker moment. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, Nkunku heavily linked to Chelsea. I'm sure he has a bit of a point to prove. A player that was linked to us as well, Gvardiol, he was also linked to us. So there's a few familiar names written about there, but I'm looking forward to it, man.
Rebel, what are you saying about the whole draw?
I fucking told you so.
I don't know what people in the chat. I don't know why this guy takes so much pride in the fact that he said we're going to draw Leipzig. We're going to draw. It's not a big deal.
Certain. I was fairly certain. But look, I'll get past it. I'm happy out. I'm happy out with it. It's a team where you're still testing yourself, but it's not something you're not expected to get through. I'm not turning around and shitting myself there. It's not Madrid. It's not Liverpool. It's not anyone else. PSG or Bayern. I'm not sat here saying, I think I'm a bit shaky. We are getting through this, in my opinion, but Leipzig still have that level of player where you can turn around and say, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to get through. Joe mentioned Nkunku. Joe mentioned Gvardiol. Danny Almo's having a very good season.
Timo Werner, man.
Timo Werner, don't forget Turbo Timo.
And listen, I just want to say, I want to jump in on your point there about Leipzig, and you can go on a sec, but if people think for 1 second we are going to go and batter Leipzig and it'll just be one of our usual last 16 games, like a 5-0 sporting job, I promise you, it won't be as simple as that. Obviously, with a team as good as ours, it's a possibility that you could go and batter them. One second, let me clear this camera a little bit. I've not helped at all.
Made it even better, bro.
You talk.
Just to echo his point, he's 100%. He is dead right in what he's about to say, in the sense there's still a glare on it. He's dead right in what he's about to say, which is they are a good enough team where we're not going to go out and roll them over. I'm not expecting that. Murray's not expecting it. But you still have to realise the level of squad that we are dealing with, that we could go out and steamroll any team in the world at the minute.
What I was going to say, people, before I looked like you were looking at me underwater, what I was going to say was, I watched Leipzig as someone who takes a keen interest in Glasgow Celtic too. I don't hide that. I like Celtic a lot. They were in the same group as Leipzig, Real Madrid, and Shakhtar Donetsk. And the obvious thing about Leipzig throughout the whole campaign was they have an unbelievable attack. They really do. Whatever you think about, say, Timo Werner, they've got that fella Silva. Is it Andre Silva? They've got him. He's a serious operator, and of course, we all know about Nkunku too well. He put an absolute. He was their best player against us, essentially, wasn't he? When we played against them across the two games in the groups last year. Basically, I watched them in the groups, and I watched their growth in the group, how they grew into the whole thing game by game. And the turning point for them was they lost their very first group game to Shakhtar Donetsk, and everyone was going wow, because at the very least, people were saying Leipzig should be going for second place, second place above Celtic and Shakhtar. They lost the first game to Shakhtar. They sacked their manager. Forgive me for not knowing his name. They brought in a new manager. He's an ex-Leipzig player, I'm fairly sure. He's from the area. He gets the club, all that thing. He came in, and whatever he did, he completely revitalized the whole team. All of a sudden, they're playing with unity. They're playing with passion. They're playing great. They're playing like the team that they should do with the quality they have in their squad. And they went out and started beating teams. Now, in terms of Celtic and their performance against Leipzig, Celtic had a lot of chances. So what my final point was, their attack, Silva, Werner and Nkunku, they can punish. So if our defence on the night, whoever plays, isn't, up to scratch, those three lads, they will score. I know people who don't watch Leipzig and have their preconceptions or preperceptions of Timo Werner will say, nah, he's not that good. I promise you, he's a much, much improved player since return to Leipzig. But the flip side is, defensively, Leipzig are there to be got at. They really are. They play what I would call rock and roll football, electric football. They go all at you. They go, full pace, full attack, no fear kind of thing, and they go for it. But a team as good as ours, as opposed to Celtics, should punish. If they play their high line, you play balls in behind. They play quite narrow defensively, you get down the wings. We have the pace, we have the power, we have the whole lot to beat them in attack. But we have to be very careful in defence and not be complacent, is what I'm saying. Because I've watched them. I watched 4 or 5 of their group games. You're right, they did beat Real Madrid. I'm 90% sure it was the very last day of the group stages. And they beat Real Madrid. Oh no, sorry, the second last day, because Celtic lost to Real Madrid on the last day. And that's massive for them. That is massive for them. So they're a good team. We have to put respect on them. And we've had this conversation, I don't know whether it was with both of you or one of you, but we have spoke about in depth how in this competition, we should not for 1 second be saying we're going to batter anybody. We shouldn't. I know we have battered teams in recent years, your Sportings and off the top of my head, I can't think of other ones, but we've battered teams. And we've gone, great, that's the thing. But when you have never won that trophy, you can't for 1 second say, in this competition, we're going to absolutely destroy X and Y, or we're going to waltz our way to Istanbul. You can't. So I want to make it clear, nice and early to everybody who's watching this and anybody who's going to follow us on the journey in the Champions League this year and watch our content, that you won't hear from me, you won't hear from Rebel, you won't hear from Joe, that we're going to batter anybody. In the preview for that Leipzig game, I might even try to find a Leipzig fan to get on if there's anybody out there. If anybody knows anyone, send them or send us their at. We won't be saying that. We won't be saying that because we respect and we appreciate this competition. I don't respect UEFA, but I respect the competition and how difficult it is to win it. Anyways, any thoughts on that, lads?
Wow.
I think I do agree with that sentiment at the end. Another thing I want to point out again, I'm bringing back painful memories for yourself here, but you saw how good their press was, especially when they played Celtic. Like, their press is really, really good. It forced Joe Hart into a couple of hours. One that ended up leading to a goal, but they go out with the mindset of this defense can be got at. We're going to press them until they until they fall apart. So it's going to be a real test of what's the word? Test of integrity,
Resilience.
resilience.
Character.
Thank you. A test of a test of character and resilience for that back three, back four, however you want to look at it, when they're getting constantly pressed. And so that's what it's going to be. Leipzig have always gone out. It's actually a team, all the Red Bull teams, that they play high press, heavy metal football. That is what the team is with a lot of them. And you've seen with Leipzig, Salzburg, even when they played Liverpool, they tried pressing them from the front. It's going to be a good test of resilience again, Murray. Thank you for the word. But you're dead right. You're dead right. Yeah, I'm going with a fresh mindset this year. We are not battering anybody. We could beat anybody, but we're not battering anybody.
Well,
No, I don't think we're not battering anybody. I think, listen,
No,
Nick
you're
Saunders
probably-
says in the chat here, we will batter them. And you know what? There is every possibility that we do batter them. There's every single possibility that we put 4 or 5 goals past Leipzig. But what I'm saying is I will not predict that. I refuse to say that we will. I refuse to show that level of chest. I'm experienced enough now at the big old age of 23 as of last week. And I've seen enough Champions League embarrassments. I've seen enough knockouts that we really should have won and should have battered. We should have battered Lyon. We should have battered Monaco. I think we should have beaten Liverpool that year. We should have battered Tottenham. And look how they all ended. Look how they all... I think we should have battered Chelsea in that Champions League final. On paper, we were streets ahead of them. We should have beaten them, and we should have beaten them with a statement and said, this is our Champions League year. This is our final. We're not letting this substantially weaker on paper Chelsea team take our first Champions League away from us. And it happened, people. It happened, and it's embarrassing. So with all that bearing in mind and all the experiences we've had as a fan base in this competition, I just refuse to sit here and go, listen, we'll go to Germany, we'll put 4 past them, we'll come back to the Etihad and we'll just play for a 1 or a 2-0 and waltz on. It's not as simple as that, people. It really isn't. It's this competition. It's this competition, and it's just simply until we win it, I won't be coming with that chest. When we've won it, I believe we will win it eventually, and when we do, you might see me saying, right, you know, we've worked it out, we know how to win the competition, we've got a feel for win the trophy, we'll probably have that bit more chest. But as of right now, I feel the exact same about this competition as I did before 93-20. You know, in the last month or two before 93-20 happened, in that season, and we're chopping and changing with United as who's top of the league, they'd win, we'd win, they'd lose, we'd lose, kind of thing. Madness of a season. You guys will all remember this if you're old enough. I never said in that season once that we're going to win the league. I never said, we're going to win this league. I said, wow. It's probably a bit the way Arsenal feel right now. I said, wow, we have a chance. Like, there's a really good chance here. Like, we're playing well. We're putting in performances that we never used to. We're looking quite good. But I never sat there and went, yeah, you know what? We're winning this league. I think that's what Arsenal probably need to do right now and be like, you know what, this is great. They've had their best start to the season they've ever had in the Premier League campaign, and go just enjoy the ride, enjoy the performances you're seeing. But I personally wouldn't anyway, me as an individual, I wouldn't be sitting there with a chest going, we're going to win the league, because of us. I wouldn't be saying it if I was an Arsenal fan, the same way I wouldn't be saying it as a City fan about Champions League, because of Real Madrid and Liverpool. Because of Bayern Munich, because of these teams who have won these competitions multiple times over, and regardless of how bad or good they are, you can't write them off. They just know. And the fact that they know and they put that jigsaw together, they've put that puzzle together so many times, that counts for me a lot more than having a great team on paper. You can put all the Galacticos together you want. You can put Haaland and De Bruyne. You can put Messi and Ronaldo and Mbappe and whoever all into the exact same team. But if they've never won that competition as a unity, I don't think that counts for as much as the team who has. I mean, I know, listen, there's 40 people in the building. If you would, make sure you smash the like button. Massively helps the channel. I think we're only on about 20 likes. Get it up to about 35 likes if you possibly can, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I just think it's a really interesting conversation about the Champions League, and it's interesting to see different City fans' perspectives, because some of us do feel like, maybe the slightly younger ones who are all they know really is City winning trophies all the time. They feel like, yeah, we're going to win it. And I respect that. I like that. I admire someone who's got chest and says, I back my team. We're going to win this. But myself, Revel, and Joe, we've just been stung so many times, and other City fans who are around the same age as us and older, we've been stung so many times in positions where we say it's our year, and we make the balls of it. We need some luck in the latter stages, and we win. That's just it as well. And I speak on this quite in depth, that you don't win these knockout competitions without a really large amount of luck, if we're being totally honest. I think domestic football league campaigns are all about consistency, just getting into rhythm, getting into flow. You don't pick up rhythm in the Champions League. You don't. Like, we're not going to play this first leg, lads, until the 22nd of February. And then the next tie, or the next leg, I believe, is 2 weeks after in March. You can't get into a rhythm because there's always players getting injured. There's always things happening that are, out of your control. So you need luck. You need things to fall into place for you, basically. Joe.
I mean, that's the big reason that I think, well, I don't know about you, Revel, but me and you are in agreement that the Premier League's harder to win because you don't win the Premier League on luck. You can win the Champions League on luck. We've seen teams before, they get the luck of the draw and they get to the final one-off game, they get a bit lucky, they go 1-0 up and they just, everything falls their way. You can win the Champions League on luck. Look at Chelsea, they did it. You can't win the Premier League on luck. It doesn't happen. You can win games in the league based on luck, a few decisions go your way. You can't, in the modern day and age where you're seeing teams, mainly us, Liverpool as well, getting 90 points. 90 points is nothing to do with luck. It's down to pure consistency, week in, week out, getting the 3 points, moving on to the next game. That's one of the reasons why we haven't won the Champions League, because we've gone out and gone, yeah, we're better than this team, and luck's gone against us. We've fallen apart, whether it be defensively or not being able to score, or whether it's referees, or whether our players just completely crumble and fall apart for different reasons. We've been there and we've done that. That's why I'm kind of writing it off and going, if we win it, we win it, cool. But I'm not particularly bothered anymore about winning it. Like, it's not the end of the world if we go out in the quarterfinals or semi-finals. I don't care. I've put it past me. It's already happened too many times for me to really get too upset about it happening. Of course I'll be annoyed, because of course I want to win it. I still want to win it, but I'm just not bothered by it anymore. But back onto Leipzig, I mean, there's a few stats flowing about, and this one from Opta saying City have only lost one of their last 17 matches against German sides, and that was against Leipzig last year when we lost 2-1 away from home, when, again, Kyle Walker did his Kyle Walker, and we were half-assed because we were already top of the group. But again, like, Grealish scored against Leipzig last season as well. I'm sure you'll remember that one all too well. Hugh Murray.
I do remember.
But it's going to be difficult, because we know even when we beat them, it was 6-3. It wasn't great defending. It was very high scoring. It's going to be attack versus attack. I think another one that I might be able to find here is it's Haaland's most scored against opponent from when he was in the Bundesliga. That's something that also goes our way. So again, familiar territory with him. People saying that he wouldn't adapt to the Premier League. Well, doesn't have to anymore. No adaptation period needed for this one. So I'm looking forward to it, but it all comes down to luck. We can be stung. We were stung by them last year. Like, this is why I'm not going to go all out and say, we're going to wrap it up in the first leg. We're going to win 4-0 in Germany and get it done in the first leg. Because going off recent history, just as far back as not even 12 months ago, really, like barely, they beat us.
It's just a bit of a conundrum as to how you want to look at this tie. Do you know what I mean? I think we also do have every right to say, yeah, we'll beat them. We'll get past them. We will. But then we still keep referring back to the point I make whereby we've been stung so many times and embarrassed so many times that you don't really want to say it. When you're saying it, like, if you do hear me say it by any chance, where I go, yeah, we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them with ease. You won't see me go like that and say it. I'm not going to sit there and go, we're going to batter them. I'll be kind of like, yeah, we're gonna beat them 100%. But we don't fear them. We fear the competition. You know what I mean? We kind of understand that it's never as straightforward as you think. Did I read this out? I said Dash message 70% hard work. Did I say that one? Did I write that message? I think it's a good message. 70% hard work, 30% luck in Champions League. In the Prem, it's 99% hard work, 1% luck. Listen, in the Premier League, you do get luck. I mean, you look at games over the past, couple of seasons where we've won the league, and the Rodri handball sticks out in mind, and we had luck against Fulham. I know you guys did the review for that game. Forgive me, it was my birthday night. I took the night off that night, but I mean, there was a huge element of luck in the Haaland goal. I mean, if that shot, the penalty, is slightly weaker in terms of power, Leno's hand is strong enough to hold on to it, and that's just that little ounce of luck you get. And an interesting point about that penalty, I want to say, maybe put more pressure on Haaland at the time was, I think Rodri spoke on the radio after the game that night, or the afternoon after Fulham game, and he said, I was down to take that penalty. If we were to get a penalty that game, it was for me to take. And then whatever happened was Rodri looked at Haaland, and Haaland had this look in his face whereby he said, I think I want this penalty. I think we can all be in agreement that when Haaland stepped up to take the penalty, he did look nervous. And we always talk about Haaland being robotic and, he doesn't feel pressure. Forget all that. That's just a nice sub story, or it's a nice thing to joke around about. But remember, this guy's 22 and he's got a massive expectation on him, and then he takes his penalty. Granted, not the greatest penalty, but when you hit it low and hard and into the corner, there's every chance. So we got a bit of luck there, and that's what I'm saying. You have to look at the Champions League and the Premier League completely differently. What are people saying? D1 Millie says 47 people here. Let's get the likes up, people, if you haven't already. Exactly. Get the like, or smash the like button, sorry, if you haven't done so already. It massively helps. Or just hit 50 people in the building. All 50 of you. Check if you've hit the like button. If you haven't done so, hit the big thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 5k at the minute. Massively help. Listen, the rest of the draw, we will talk more about City Leipzig in the future, but I'm bearing in mind that we've only really got another 20-25 minutes to speak to you guys before I go in the big six. I do want to talk about the rest of this draw a bit more, because it's a mammoth draw, lads. It really is a mammoth draw. I think in a weird way, it couldn't have worked out better for us. You know, we got a good draw in terms of we'd expect to beat them, but it's also going to be a good test, so that when we do hopefully progress to the next round, we will have played a big team. You know, played in a knockout game, a competitive game where there's expectation on you, and we can go into what'll probably be a tougher game again in the quarterfinals. Not flat-footed, you know, not cold-footed, whatever way you want to look at it. And then, to add on top of that, all the big dogs have drawn each other. I think the Real Madrid-Liverpool game is going to be one of the ties of the competition. I really do. Two teams of massive heritage, massive Champions League DNA. Neither of them will want to sit back and say, no, you know, we're not good enough to win this. Or Liverpool, regardless of where they are at that point in the season, if they're still not in great straits, I know they're just beating Tottenham, they still will say, look, this is as much our competition as it is yours. I know you've won it a couple more times than us, but you know, we've won the most Champions Leagues in Britain. We're one of the most Champions League winners in Europe. We're not sitting back and allowing you to walk all over us. Lads, have you any thoughts on that game? Because I think that game, the Real Madrid-Liverpool game, alongside the PSG-Bayern game, will have a massive, massive say on who goes on to win that competition.
God love Trent. I'll just say that. God fucking love Trent. Because he was getting twisted yesterday by Ryan Sessegnon. Imagine what's going to happen when he comes up against Vinicius. I know we saw the precursor to it, but this, I think Trent is as defensive low at the minute. I think recently he's been worse than ever. But Vinicius is just going up and up and up and up and becoming a better player every week. Poor Trent is going to get the arse torn off him. I think Vinicius will end up. See, I don't know who's going to go through. I'm not turning around and going to say with chest that Liverpool are going out. I'm not going to say Madrid are going around with chest. But I can guarantee you, it will be very, very entertaining. And not only will it be very entertaining, I think Trent's going to be absolutely dunked on. It's going to be like that, that meme going around of Spider-Man getting absolutely dunked on by Venom. It's just going to be that. Like, he is going to get torn apart.
But the thing is with Trent, like, he's played in these big games of the Champions League. I know his consistently he's been poor defensively, hasn't he? I think, first of all, I want to outline, I think that was a penalty for Sessegnon against Tottenham today. Absolutely. If the Cancelo one is a penalty and a red card, the Trent one is at the very least a penalty. I understand that the Sessegnon Trent one was a bit further out wide, so it's not really a clear goal scoring opportunity, but it's the exact same contact. The physicality is the exact same. He's not been great consistently defensively. But in terms of the Champions League, like I said, it's one of those competitions where you just need to have one good night, and all of a sudden you're in a good position. Big up Nick Tall with the Czar 14. Happy belated, Hugh. 90+5 winner, best present. Mate, I couldn't have asked for any more. All I was saying was, in that game, when we went down to 10 men, please dig in deep here, City. Please dig in deep and get those 3 points. And I know Joe and Dara covered it, and I'm sure they covered it very well in their stream after the game. But my thoughts was, we will look back hopefully at the end of the season on that game, even though it's against Fulham, and say that was fucking huge. That was fucking colossal, that win against Fulham. It really was. It felt a little bit like when Jesus scored that winner against, was it Southampton a couple of years ago? And we were all cheering. Or was it Bournemouth maybe?
That was Sterling, man.
It was one of them. Someone scored a winner anyway. And you got that kind of deja vu feeling of, wow, that's a big statement win. And obviously because of the other big 6 games across the weekend, they'll overshadow our game. But for us as City fans, we will look back and go, that was absolutely massive. You saw the atmosphere in the stadium. I rewatched a lot of it on City Plus, and I heard Sean Goder and the main commentators' reaction to it. They were going crazy. Like, it wasn't just your average 2-1 win over Fulham. It was a kind of a special win. But big up Nick Tall for the super chat, massively appreciated. What was I saying there before I went off on the Fulham talk?
I have no fucking clue, to be honest with you, man.
Trent.
Yeah, big game. You said if Trent has played in these big games, I was going to rebut you, though.
Go for it.
Jory, what was the last big proper UCL night that Trent played? It was Champions League final, okay? League final.
I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna
Who
say.
was the reason for Liverpool losing that Champions League final? Who was the man with the one big lapse in judgment that left Vinicius go and score that?
The
It was
back
Trent.
post.
If there's one man I will put my house on getting absolutely done in that tie, it's Trent Alexander-Arnold. And look, he's a good player. I'm not going to turn around and say he's absolutely shot to bits. He's just so unreliable at the back. He's so unreliable. Now look, we've got that same problem at the minute. What Cancelo done during the weekend was fucking unforgivable. But it's not every week with Cancelo. It's just every couple of weeks. So I'll take that. I'll take that over every week. It's fine. I can
Listen.
live with that.
He's less consistently shit.
He's less
consistently
consistently shit.
but he's better going forward, and he's also got a better haircut.
I mean, look, listen. This is wild, and I didn't realize this. I thought he might have, but you talk about Trent defensively. I agree. Defensively, Trent, this is the worst I've ever seen him. Ever. This is the worst defensively I've ever seen him. I knew it was his weakness, but my God, he's been bullied every week by players who are championship quality. Like, he's been outpaced by a 34-year-old Perisic. Come on, mate. Please, get a grip. Like, he's so poor defensively, but here's the thing for you. You talk about him going forward, he hasn't registered an assist this season. He has not got an assist in any competition this season. Like, going forward, he's not much
just want to
better.
make it clear. I'm not for 1 second sitting here and defending Trent Alexander. I don't care enough about the guy to defend him. He means no odds to me. All I'm saying is, my overall point is, and I fully take into account what you're saying, I am still hanging my hat a little bit on, at some point in the season, Liverpool clicking. I'm also hanging my hat on a little bit the fact that Liverpool do view themselves as a big heavyweight when it comes to Champions League. And whether we like it or not, whether we joke around about it or not, Anfield, in fairness, on the European nights, it's a bookie place, as they say. It's a bookie place. You know what I mean? You don't really want to... We've experienced it ourselves, both in Premier League and even in Champions League. They absolutely slaughtered us that night, if you remember correctly. It's not a particular place you want to go. Barcelona felt the wrath of it. So all I'm saying is, yes, there's matchups there that you'd say Real Madrid can really punish. You know, if Van Dijk is still not playing his very best, granted he's improved a little bit, you could see Benzema maybe doing a bit of a madness. You could see definitely, I agree with you lads 100%. Vinicius should really, in theory, rinse Trent and all that kind of thing. But you know what I mean? Salah looks like he's picking up form. But the main thing is that this is a wild season, people. With the World Cup coming up now in 2 weeks, you don't know how any team is going to look after the World Cup. You really can't say. And I think you have to apply that to both Premier League and Champions League. I think Arteta will be saying in his head, this World Cup is really not ideal. Really not ideal. Mikel Arteta will be going, fuck's sake, we've had the best start to a campaign ever. We're playing great football. We're getting great results. 27 out of 27 points at home in the Emirates this season in all competitions. How will they look after Christmas? You don't know. They've got a lot of players going to the World Cup, and you can apply that to Manchester City too. You don't know how we will look. We have a lot of players going. Granted, the big fella up top isn't going, but pretty well all of our main players, they're going to the World Cup. We don't know how we will look after Christmas. So I'm kind of giving Liverpool the benefit of the doubt in that tie. With all that said, their competition in terms of, you know, British standings, the Anfield thing, I still believe at some point they will click and find some consistent form. You can't rule them out. But listen, the whole point is this is a fantastic tie. Both for neutrals who will watch the game, it'll be a blockbuster. But for us, from a selfish point of view, one of these motherfuckers is going out. Yeah, we don't have to worry about one of these guys. Yeah, we don't have to worry about one of these guys, because once we get to the quarterfinals, we're going, right, one of the two heritage motherfuckers is gone. Yeah, so hopefully we can deal with one, but we definitely won't have to deal with two.
That's the word, isn't it? Heritage. People saying this heritage is the reason why we don't win this.
For as much as Murray hates the word, he fucking uses it a lot.
because I feel like I've disrespected the Champions League and the heritage of the Champions League too much, and now I've kind of pulled my horns in a little bit, and I've said, you know what? Until we win it, the heritage wins for me. Heritage wins for me until we win it. But after we win it, your heritage can go shove it. But until then,
that's the word, isn't it? Heritage. Everyone loves to use the word heritage, and listen. The aura, the Van Dijk aura. Liverpool being at home first, they better hope they come out with a 2-goal cushion at least, because Tottenham was their first away win this season, and they've played Nottingham Forest away from home. So that tells you all you need to know about them on the road. They have been shaky. So maybe actually them finishing second in their group is a blessing in disguise, because if they can come out with a cushion from their first leg at home, you never know. Stranger things have happened. They could just hold out for like a 1-0 loss and go through. Like, you can't rule them out because of the whole heritage thing. But realistically, Real Madrid, winners of the competition. Liverpool, you know, they were in the final. They look a shadow of themselves. You'd expect Madrid to realistically go through. But Liverpool's Liverpool in the Champions League. How many times have they been shit and won it? Like, that's just Liverpool, innit? It's just them in the Champions League. It's something about them. They've been shit and won it before.
Their most famous one, Istanbul, they had Jamie Carragher playing centre half.
Exactly, there you go. See?
Carragher was never an animal. I never once looked at I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember him properly, but I never looked at Jamie Carragher. I said he was a hard worker and that sort of thing. A lot of players in that team, in fact, most players in that Liverpool team back then wouldn't get into the squad nowadays. So that's just the thing. The heritage does carry you. I think they'd won it 4 times at that point, or 3 or 4 times at that point. But that counts, man. That goes for a long way, Joe.
Yeah, and that is why you can't take them out. It's a similar way as why you can't take someone like Chelsea out of the equation. Yeah, they might be playing dreadful at the moment, but they've won it. They've won the competition multiple times. You can't take them out of the equation. Over the last couple of years, well, really, it's in the Chelsea DNA, isn't it? You look at Mourinho, Conte, Tuchel playing back fives. They're great knockout sides. They are great in knockout competitions, Chelsea, because they always just set up defend first. Maybe less so with Potter, because even though he does play a 5, he does like to try and, at least get forward. But over the last few years, Chelsea have been great knockout sides. They've been really hard to beat over 2 games. So you can't discount them either, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually hoping that Liverpool Madrid is the doesn't fall on the same day as when City play, because I'd quite like to watch it. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Rembolic says a lot of big ones going out this round, and I think hopefully anyway. Sorry, we get the business done against Leipzig. A massive plus is that a lot of the big dogs are going out in this round. So, is it our year? Yeah, fuck it, why not? But all I'm saying is, I'm not putting huge expectation on it. I'm saying yes, it can be. Yes, it can be, because I've done so many years, people, so many years where I said, yep, it's our year. Yeah, oh, we can't not win it this year. We can't not win it this year. Surely to God, we're winning it this year. Nope, we don't win it. So you know what? It can be our year. It can. I see a lot of people in the chat saying it's our year. I don't see why not. But listen, we've still got about 15 minutes to talk to you guys, so keep getting your chats in. I want to move on from the Champions League a little bit now. We will do more. I want to get a guest or 2 on this week. Hopefully, I won't say who it is yet because I haven't really asked them. But hopefully, if they say yes, you'll all know them. It's a good guest. Hasn't been on the channel before. And we'll talk more about the Champions League then. Park it there. I want to talk to you guys very quickly about the weekend's Premier League results. Obviously, we beat Fulham 2-1. I spoke a little bit about that from Nick Tall's Super Chat. Massive win. But we may as well touch in on the other obvious ones. United lost 3-1 to Villa. And there's a bit of a blame being put on that game. On me. Apparently, it's my fault that Man United lost that game. According to Saeed and all those little United rats, they're blaming me that they lost the game, because what happened was all season I've been predicting United losses, on the Big Six and our predictions league. For those of you who maybe don't watch the Big Six, we have a predictions league where we all predict the games for the weekend, and you get scores based on how many you get correct and all that sort of thing. I've been predicting United losses. I didn't even realize I was predicting United losses every week. I just was, and they kept winning. They kept fucking winning, and they were saying, because Hugh keeps predicting us to lose, we keep winning. And then, bang, I predict them to win against Villa, and they go and lose. And they're saying, I'm a bit of a jinx, I'm a bit of a curse. I'm getting DMs from United fans being like, you cursed us, you've jinxed us, you need to start predicting us to lose again. I said, I didn't curse you, you're just shit. Like, I saw the extended highlights of that United versus Villa game, and I was looking at it going, wow, I can't tell if this is a new manager bench from Aston Villa, and big up Unai Emery for getting his result and that kind of thing. But you have to put it into perspective, people, and say United, hands down, were just brutal. They didn't look really like. I didn't see obviously the full 90 minutes, but I saw the very long extended highlights, about 20 minutes worth, and there was no big highlights where you'd say United were putting Villa under the cosh. They're putting them under pressure. They don't have any real ball carriers. They didn't look threatening at all. I mean, I don't know, did you guys see that game and your thoughts on the United Villa game?
I saw very limited highlights, to be honest with you. So I'm very fortunate to actually saw.
Come on, mate, sort your internet out.
McDonald's Wi-Fi, man. He's got
McDonald's Wi-Fi. Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
Pay your Wi-Fi bills, bro. Pay your Wi-Fi bills.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Continue.
Right, yeah, I saw very limited highlights of it, but I don't know. They were very lucky to actually score, to be honest with you. Like, it took a wicked deflection for them to actually score. So You know, they realistically, and again, they should have lost 3-0. They got 3-1 out of, so fair play to them.
Way well in. They probably should have had a man sent off as well because Martinez was throwing elbows about the gaff. So lucky with that one as well. But listen, it's very funny. I'll never get tired of United losing. I'll never get tired of Spurs. I'll never get tired of any of them losing. It's a great watch. It also makes the Big Six like 10 times better when any of them get absolutely hammered. Because, you know, that man Skulfuggery, he is waiting. He is waiting in the wings, man. It's funny. And again, they were lucky to score. Jacob Ramsey had the game of all games where he wins the free kick that they score. He gets the assist for Leon Bailey, the opener. He scores an own goal and then scores in the second half. Like he did everything. That is one of the most mental games I've ever seen. But long may it continue. Can you just do that from now on? Just predict them to win so they lose every week. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the reason why Grealish isn't scoring is because you predict him to score every week. Maybe whatever you say is going to happen doesn't happen. Maybe that's the realization that we've all come to here.
No. I like that feeling too much of when I say he's going to score and he does score. I got it. It's a big feeling for me. I can't sacrifice that. But on the United thing, I'll take the jinx into account there. But listen, for United, that was a big loss for them. What are you going to say?
It's a win-win for you. If they win, right, you actually get your points and you move up, right? But then if they lose, you get to laugh at them, you know, man.
I think I need to start predicting United wins every week. And for those of you who watch the Big Six, what are you saying? Should I start predicting United to win every week? I think, or at least I don't know. I do want to win. I do want to catch Matisse in that predictions league and go on top. So I'll see how I'm feeling on a weekly basis. But in terms of the league standings, that was a massive loss for United. You know what I mean? Liverpool, I think, were what, 7 to 10 points behind them, and then they went and lost that. Liverpool beat Tottenham. They're allowing Liverpool back into that top 4 race. It's not a good look for Man United. It's a poor one. But like I said, I didn't see the whole game, so I can't really speak on the ins and outs of it. But from the highlights I saw, defensively, United looked absolutely appalling. Butcher or that Lindelof, if they wanna be secure at the back and strong at the back, which is what you need to be. When you're not a team that scores a huge amount of goals, which United aren't, they don't punish teams. You know what I mean? They don't batter teams and make statement wins. They get their 1-2-0 wins. They get their 2-1 wins, kind of thing. You need to be really compact in your defense. Lindelof isn't compact, man. I'm sure plenty of you saw the clip of Saeed saying, "Why didn't you stick tight? Why didn't you stick tight?" That's it, man. When you don't stick tight, or you give really good players who can punish space on the ball in your area, there's a high possibility they will punish. Martinez, Pat Butcher, Blue Chan says, "Yeah." Listen. I think with United as well, though, if we're being a bit level-headed, it's a process, these things. I mean, as much as I love watching them lose and it's great seeing the meltdown from their side of things, you do have to take into account it's Ten Hag's first season. He deserves a few transfer windows to get his team together and do his thing, and then you can start to judge properly. But what we've seen from the 11 players or 15 or so players that take to the pitch for them every single week, I don't know, does it look like a team that you can say, yes, they really are, you know, in there for the top 4? You can kind of put your hat on them a little bit. I don't know. But listen, the other big game, there was 2 other big games. We may as well talk on the next one, which is Chelsea-Arsenal. Chelsea-Arsenal, that was on telly. I don't know if you guys watched that. I watched it, even though I was very, very hungover. It was a fantastic display from Arsenal. It really was a fantastic display. And they're earning respect week on week on week because they're putting in these big performances. And they're just resilient. They dominate the ball. Chelsea couldn't string passes together. They're punishing Chelsea in defence. Granted, they had a bit of luck with the goal, but you can call it luck or you can call it a disaster from Chelsea because the ball went through, about 5-6 players straight off a corner from Saka. That's not good enough from a team that really wants to be in the top 4 like Chelsea. I don't know. Joe, what are your thoughts on that one? I assume you watched it.
Oh, I watched it and I said my fair piece on it yesterday on the stream last night. I think I spent 20 minutes just going in, mainly on one man and one man in particular, that man being Raheem Sterling. I hope you're still happy, mate. I hope you've made the right decision, or at least I hope you think you've still made the right decision, you fraud. He is one of the worst footballers I've seen at the moment. He can't do anything right. He can't pass, he can't dribble, he can't take anyone on, he can't score. Neither can Gabriel Jesus, by the way. I will say Gabriel Jesus is showing his true Man City colours yet again in missing sitters. He missed a great header at 0-0 in the first half. Don't know how he missed it. Well, I do know because he's Gabriel Jesus. But listen, at least the Arsenal fans are happy with him. But these are the things, like Arsenal, I have heard murmurs of, I wish Gabriel Jesus could be a bit more clinical, and I wish, you know, Sterling would be useful. Like we tried to tell Chelsea and Arsenal fans that, listen, you're signing these players, Sterling isn't going to work because you don't have a 9, and Jesus won't score you more than like 10 goals a season. He'll have a purple patch, he'll do you well, but he's not going to score loads of goals. And the cracks are beginning to show, but I know Arsenal fans are more happy with Jesus than Chelsea fans about Sterling, but deserved winners. Arsenal absolutely hammered them. To be honest, it was lucky it was 1-0 because it should have been a minimum 2-3. Like, they absolutely battered them. Chelsea, no chance. Cucurella as well. Thank God we didn't bend over and pay 60-odd million for that guy. He is awful. Giving Xhaka hugs from a corner. What are you doing? That goal was comical. It was... I don't know who organises Chelsea set pieces. They were awful. They were quite poor last season as well, I remember. I don't know who's doing it, but maybe they need to figure something out there, because how it goes through half of your team for Gabriel to just poke it home, I will never know. It's just poor defending, and they never deserved anything. I was more hopeful that they'd get anything from the game based on our standpoint of we just kind of want Arsenal to drop points wherever they can. But to say I was expecting Arsenal to not get a win out of that game, I saw it coming. You can't go from... I know they got a win in midweek in the Champions League, but who were they playing? Was it Zagreb? Yeah. I mean, you can't go from getting hammered 4-1 by Brighton and then turning up to the league leaders and going, yeah, we're going to get a result here. That doesn't happen. Not very often.
And that's the thing. You do... I think after that result anyway, I have raised Arsenal in my estimations. Like, I knew they were a very good team, and they've got a lot of momentum right now. There's a big feel-good factor around Arsenal Football Club, but that was a statement win. That was an absolute statement win from Arsenal. And one of the things you said there was absolutely spot on when you said it was a 1-0 win, but if you watch the game, it looked like a 3 or a 4-0 win. I mean, if they had a... I don't want to shit on Gabriel Jesus, because he actually is what he contributes to their game. It's like deja vu talking about Jesus with City. You know, he used to contribute great things to our game, but he didn't have that X factor in front of goal. If they had, say, a Haaland at number 9, who got some of those chances that they, worked up in front of Chelsea's goal, it was a 3 or 4-0 win. Or if they had a slightly more clinical striker, it was a 3 or 4-0 win. But the fact of the matter is, they do look a little bit like us and when we played that false 9 system. They're grinding out these wins, tough wins, Leeds away, batter Nottingham Forest, beat Chelsea in Stamford Bridge. I believe that's possibly 4 wins in a row, or 3 or 4 wins in a row for us.
It was 3 in a row in Stamford Bridge, the first team ever, I believe.
Yeah, that's an amazing achievement. And like I go back to the point I made earlier on, which is that this World Cup has come at an awful time for Arsenal, because when you've built up momentum to the level they do, you're seeing them celebrate after the game with, Arteta's on the pitch clapping the fans are all going crazy singing songs. You built an extreme level of momentum. You get into that way that we are when we say we want a game every 3 or 4 days. You just want it to keep coming, keep bringing the games on, we'll keep beating teams, we're feeling good, we're feeling confident, and then bang, the lads all fuck off the guitar. And in a way, I know you're top of the league, they're expecting to be top of the league after Christmas, but they'll be saying we kind of have to start from scratch in terms of the psychological thing. We have to build that momentum up again, and we have to get the lads back up to that feeling of high and resilience, and we won't be beaten kind of thing, because that's the main thing they've added to their game this year. I mean, other than Zinchenko and Jesus, the two obviously big additions to their squad this summer, the main thing when you watch Arsenal on telly, or if you go to the games, whatever it is, they look like they refuse to be beaten. Saliba is very much like a brand new signing. He's an absolute monster in defence. But they're playing with serious resilience. They refuse to be beaten. They're playing like champions, and that's the scary part for us. Do I still think that they can go on and battle us right to the wire? I don't know. I'm increasingly starting to believe that maybe they can. I just don't know. Have you guys, Rebel, have you got any thoughts on that situation?
No, it's gonna be the same. In my opinion, I think we'll be hard for. I think the World Cup and the whole playing better teams in Europe will eventually tear them apart. They'll come down to earth a bit more. I still kind of like Jesus is through his purple patch, and he's still somewhat providing. I still expect him to go a little bit downwards, just going off how we've seen him over the last few years. If you lose that, you lose a big piece of your link-up play. You score much less goals than Arsenal have been scoring, because they're scoring a good few goals. The weekend really brought down Chelsea in my estimations. I know you said about Arsenal going up, it brought Chelsea down, because I was only talking to my mate. I was out for lunch with my mate today before, a Chelsea fan, and he said something along the lines of, I'm not convinced on Potter. And I was like, that's weird. I thought they were all kind of like in on Potter. It's fine. There's a considerable amount of them just not in on Potter, just really not about him, which, I think Potter's a great manager, but was it too early for him? Seems like it might be. Look what he's doing. He's playing Raheem Sterling as a wing back. Raheem Sterling's playing a wing back. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is still playing as a wing back. God love him. That fella is just so unlucky.
Average.
That poor fucker. Like, Except for how he looks, he's one of the better look players in the Premier League. Fair play to him. He's being played as a right wing back. I know what I'd rather. But
What did I say last night? What did I say last night? I think you agreed with me on this last night, that Arsenal have two things that they need to prove, and it was coping with an injury crisis, and it was battling when they're in the latter stages of the Europa League, playing against the tougher teams. I mean, we all know on paper the Europa League, Barcelona dropped down, Man United, Juventus, those sorts of teams that are in that competition now, are they going to go, Europa League, we can win this? Or are they going to bin that off and go, let's focus on the league title, we can do this? Like, how are they going to cope? We know City can cope with those 3 games a week. There's no evidence to suggest that when it gets to April, it doesn't go into April, but when it gets to March, them last sort of 10 league games of the season, how are they going to cope when every player is running on empty? How are they going to cope? We don't know that until it comes.
Steve always makes the point, and I like listening to Steve in these situations because he's usually got a very level head, and he says, yeah, what Arsenal are doing are great right now. It's just, can they get to that point where, there's 9-10 games left to go this season, and they're still within touching distance of us, or possibly even just ahead of us in the league, and then all of a sudden it becomes a real hit out. It becomes a real test of who has the bigger bollocks. You know what I mean? Who has the minerals? Who can, grind out those wins when you go to places like, I don't know, Newcastle away. I'm sure, I know we've played them, but there'll be tough games, tough away games, tough home games. We still have to play Arsenal home and away. How do you grind it out when your bottle is really being tested? Not in September, not in November, when you're in March, you're in April, and shit gets really serious. How do you stand up? How do you cope with the pressure? I think that's the big test for Arsenal, and it's not something we can foresee or we can predict. It's just an only time will tell thing. Something we can kind of contribute or predict as to maybe how they'll shape up when we get to that down to the wire. The hit that I'm talking about is their business in January, because you are right when you say they probably don't have the depth that we do, and when you take 1 or 2, maybe 3 of their players out in the injury crisis you're talking about, I believe it'll diminish them massively. You take Jesus out, you're taking out that relentless energy and pressure, and that's something that Arsenal really thrive off. The relentless energy, the relentless pressing, the relentless pressure that you get from your Martinellis, you get from your Sakas and Jesus. You take one cog out of the machine, all of a sudden, how does it function? Same with Saliba. You take Saliba out, how are they gonna cope with that? So there's a lot that remains unseen, I suppose, from Arsenal. You don't know what to expect. All you can really say is, yeah, big respect for what they've done so far this season. I'm not even being sarcastic when I say that. It's really impressive what they're doing, and I'm enjoying in a way watching their progress. I just hope it doesn't get to be our detriment, or to the detriment of us in the later stage of the season. I still back City, people. If you're asking me my final answer, I still back City to win this league. Listen, I have 4 minutes to get over to the Big Six, or I'll be classed as late. So listen, there's still 55 of you in the building. Wow. Thank you all so much for all 55 of you who have come in and sent your messages in. I know I didn't interact with the chat very much tonight, but because we had to congest the conversation a little bit, I wanted us to get our thoughts across and, do our thing sort of thing. Big up to everybody who sent in super chats. We will be back tomorrow night at 10:30. I assume it'll be the 3 of us. I don't know who's around, but, we'll be back anyway to do a preview of our big Carabao Cup game against Chelsea on Wednesday. That's also a massive game. I'm sure Chelsea will want to bounce back from their recent poor form. So join us at 10:30 tomorrow night. If you haven't done so already, people, before you click off, just smash the like button. There's about 60 in the building right now. It's getting bigger as we're about to log off. Smash the like button. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 5k. All your support massively helps. We really appreciate you. I always say this all the time. All of your love, all of your support, it doesn't go unnoticed. Massively, massively appreciated. Loads of nice comments and DMs all the time I'm getting from you guys. I'm sure the lads are too. Massively appreciated. If you're watching on playback, also smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss us whenever we go live, I know tonight we're live at a slightly earlier time. If you don't want to miss these kind of lives where we don't go live at our usual time, hit the notification bell. So you get a little notification, say the lads are going live. I need to get over and watch the 1894 lads. Anyways, 3 minutes to the Big Six. Get over to Turkish's channel to watch the Big Six. I'll give you a little teaser. I had a bit of a chat with Skulltug earlier on, and all I say is it's mad. It's a bit mad. Get over to the Turkish channel, and we'll see you at 9 o'clock for that. And if you're not there for that, we'll see you tomorrow at 10:30, right back here for Chelsea preview. Joey Boy, wrap her up. Big love.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand.